Maybe we'll get started. We're still going to have some people coming in, and I'll just keep admitting them as they come on. I'm assuming everybody's looking at a screen that's got a number of names in front of it. I'd like to get a sense from people out there who's there and where they're from and that sort of thing. So I'm going to do a quick introduction of kind of the key speakers, and then maybe we can just go around and people can kind of say who they are and where they're from the best we can.
Everybody's got their mics muted right now. So.
Yeah, I see that. So, you know, when it comes to them, you can click it on and maybe just say who they are and where they're from. So welcome, everybody. My name is Tim Hamill, and I'm a part owner and president of RecTec, as you know. And a few more people. And so we'll go with Steve. I should let everybody know before we do any introductions that we are recording the entire webinar. So we'll be posting it to our YouTube channel at RecTec TV when we're done. And so people will be able to catch up on anything that they missed there, or please feel free to pass it along. Okay, so Steve, we'll start with you in the corner there.
I'm up at the top here on my thing. Steve.
Yeah.
Steve Goodwin. I recognize most of the names.
Steve's here with RecTec, part of our results team.
Charlotte and I are there.
And I'm Charlotte Carroll, part of RecTec on the results team, working with Steve Goodwin and the rest of the RecTec family.
Okay. Steve or Ken? Oh, you just muted yourself. Yep, there you go. Yep, you got her.
Ken Barnes in Swim, Manitoba, Winnipeg.
Welcome. Sandra? We probably won't get through everybody, but we'll do our best. Yeah.
Sandra from Milton.
Hi, Sandra. Ori?
Ori Clearwater from Swim, Manitoba in Winnipeg.
Welcome. Eric?
Eric Gerard from GMAC.
Hi, Eric. Jen?
Hi, I'm Jen Knights. I'm the manager of the Windsor International Aquatic and Training Center, Adventure Bay Family Water Park, and Aquatic Services in Windsor, Ontario.
Welcome. Richard?
Richard Chan from Richmond Hill, Ontario.
Welcome. Steve?
Steve Malloy, meat manager with Manitoba Marlins.
Welcome, Steve. Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah Milton, aquatic programmer at the Etobicoke Olympium in Toronto.
Welcome, Sarah. Leah? Leela, sorry.
Leela de Cruz from NIAC.
Hi, welcome. Suzanne? Oh, sorry, Susan. Hi, Susan.
Hi, I'm Susan Stiles from the Markham Pan Am Center.
Hi, welcome, Susan. Dean?
Hello, everyone. Dean Bowles from Ontario.
Welcome, Dean. Guelph? Guelph Marlins?
GM and level 4 official.
Welcome. Trevor?
Too many buttons to click. Trevor Barry.
Hey, Trevor, how's it going?
All right.
Jeff?
Hi, Jeff McCurdy from the Markham Pan Am Center.
Welcome, Jeff. Yep. Nicole?
Nicole Parent, Swim, Ontario. Good evening, everyone.
Welcome. Javier?
Hi, I'm Javier Marroquin from the Aurelia Recreation Center. I'm the aquatics corner there.
Oh, welcome. Welcome. Michael?
Michael Gordon, the treasurer of the Aurelia Channel Cats in Aurelia.
welcome. Romeo?
Hi, Romeo Luberti with Guelph Marlins.
Welcome. Man?
Hi, Mandon from Manitoba Mountains.
Welcome. Lisa?
Oh, hi, I'm Lisa Lowen. I'm the club officials chair with the Aurelia Channel Cats.
Welcome. Lear? I hope I pronounced that right. Okay.
Brian.
Whoa, what happened?
Brian Lear. Yeah.
Or really, you got Matt, Brian.
Okay. Got another person from the Aurelia Channel Cats.
Hi, Meredith Thompson Edwards, head coach with the Aurelia Channel Cats.
Hi, welcome.
Hi.
We have Matt.
Hi, Matt Spence from the Regina Dolphins.
Welcome. Next, we have Brian.
Brian Lear from Swim Manitoba.
Welcome, Brian. Rena.
Hi, it's Rena from Newmarket Stingray.
Welcome. Next is Tam.
Hi, this is Tam from Region Waterloo Swim Club.
And then we have, hey, Patrick.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
Good. And Patrick is going to be working with RecTec on some other avenues, consulting services, pool repairs, and things like that. So I'd invite him in on the call. So welcome to everybody. Let me just back up here. So we'll get started. I'm going to start by going to share the screen with everybody. Part of it is in PowerPoint presentation. It's going to be a little jumping around, so bear with me. Hopefully everybody can see the screen and kind of RecTec's swim time. We're doing Swiss timing update and return to competition. So, you know, it's been a long time since I've done something like this where I kind of try to bring as many of our timing system operators, owners, facilities that have systems together to talk about what's new with Swiss timing, what's new out there with some other organizations that we've been working with, and talk a little bit about returning to some sort of competition. I know some are already competing. Some are just starting that, and what we're going to be doing from a RecTec point of view with our operators and how it will change with COVID and the new procedures for our staff. And then we'll also go through some different services. We have our traditional timing services, but we also have some new services that we're going to be offering, and we'll go through as well. So the welcome and the speaker, what's new at Swiss timing, in particular, the changes to the quantum controller, and then something new for Swiss timing is called the Sport in the Box. We'll go through that. We'll talk about IC Control Media and Sport based out of Sweden and their results management software and where that may fit in here for us. Revised operation procedure for our Swiss timing equipment. So this is our operators and what they'll be doing differently. And we're just sharing this information with everybody. We really want this to be an open forum. So if you have any questions throughout, please feel free to ask. And if you don't want to ask now, you know, we'll be available afterwards or by email to answer anyone's questions. And then what services? So like I said, we have our traditional timing on-site services, but in these COVID times, now we're going to be offering the opportunity to be able to do virtual time trials, dual time trials, or competitions if you're already in that mode, our result management service, and then our standby support. And then just, we thought we'd have an open forum on, because like we know some people are competing. People are getting prepared to compete. So just an open forum to discuss challenges that we may be having with our timing system or with our facilities, challenges in order to get things up and running. Just an opportunity to share some information, and then we'll wrap up with some questions and answers that people may have. So starting off with the Swiss timing, okay? So, and in quantum in particular. As people have probably heard from me over the years, that I don't necessarily feel that it's critical that you keep up with every new version that Swiss timing comes out with for the quantum. But there are some key ones that happen. You know, the updates come out about every 6 months. And the latest version, which is 5.2.0, came out on May 18th of 2020. And it is a very important one, I think. And our goal is to try to get all of our customers revised to this version. So part of what we're going to do is I'm going to actually take you through how you can download the new software and how to put it from your computer onto the quantum. And just to make sure everyone's familiar with that, and we'll go through what the highlights are for that. Okay, so this is going to be one of those times where I'll be leaving the presentation and going. So if we open up our Explorer, whatever it is, and the reason why I'm showing this is because the files are very big. It is difficult to send them. If anybody wants them individually from me, I'll be more than happy to send it through a Dropbox or some sort of format that way. But the easiest way is to just go to the Swiss timing website and you can pick it up from them. So what you want to do is just type in Swiss timing. Go on to this, it's swisstiming.com is the actual site. So we want to go on to the site here. And once we're on their main page, you can see all their services and the different sports and the different equipment and that. But the one we want to focus on is the downloads. And in here, I can get all the manuals. And more importantly, right now is our software updates. So I would click on the software update. And then down below is a list of all of the different controllers that have software attached to them. And so if we look up here, we'll see that latest version of the 5.2.0. So we would click on that. I'm not going to download it because I've already downloaded, and I'll show you in a minute. But when you click on that, down at the bottom left, as you download any file, it'll download to there. And then if you go to your File Explorer, let's back up here. If you go to your File Explorer and you go to your downloads, you'll be able to pick it up. I downloaded it yesterday during my practice run here, but you'll see the folder there. It's a zip folder, and then you can move it from your downloads to wherever you want in your documents. So for myself, it's under Swiss timing, and I have the updates here. And then, so once you have it transferred onto your hard drive, and this could be directly from your laptop that you're using from your quantum, or you can put this onto a stick. But it, like I mentioned, it is a big file. So it is initially compressed, and then you'll uncompress that file, and you should end up with all the folders like here. Now, the natural thing may be to go to setup, but the easiest way is to go to intro at this stage. And the intro is like it's like a wizard, and it'll take you through all of the procedures of updating. With this, it's a software update only, so it is much easier. There's no firmware or hardware update with this, so it's pretty hard to you know, we're not having to do anything to the quantum itself, so it's just software related. We can always, if something goes wrong in the download, we can always go back and redo it. But I'll direct you to the installation procedure for a number of things. For your information purposes, this is actually a log of all of the revisions that have happened since the quantum came out. They didn't put the first couple, but they started with version 4, and it goes version 4 to 5, and it lists here, you know, what they did for each one. So they added record line in line 2 for an alphanumeric scoreboard or a video board. It'll list all whatever highlights are there. So what I've been doing in the past is I'll look at these, I'll look to see what upgrades are there, and then I may do an email out to everybody, say, you know, have a look at this upgrade, it's worthwhile. Sometimes it's minor and it's not really that important. I know there are some of you out there that like to stay up on all the updates whenever they come out. But I do direct everybody to this in order to get this latest version in a minute. If you already haven't read it, there's one feature it offers that's really good. So if you're loading this on for the first time, so let's say you bought a new laptop, you're upgrading, this is the steps to do in order to load that on for the first time. It explains it here, and then it lists it in order how you do them on here. These sections here. I'm not actually going to download it, but you would go to each one, and there would be a wizard that would take you through that installation. If we go back here, if we have a previous version on there, we actually have to delete, uninstall some of the software. Okay, so we need to uninstall the previous Quantum Sport. So in most cases, it's going to be swimming. It may be some water polo there as well, but mainly swimming. And then, or sorry, not water polo, but diving and synchro. We have some of those out there. And then uninstall the directories as well. It's important to know that when you delete these, you're not deleting databases that are already there. So any races that you've already run are saved in a different spot. You're not actually erasing that. So then you go back, once you've done that, then you can go back up it like it's a new installation and follow through the process. Now you may already have the framework loaded from a previous time, but if you click on that feature back here, it'll tell you whether it's already there or not. Okay, and then we go through, and how I can tell is if I go to my Quantum, and I got it on the screen over here, but when I go to configuration, I can click on version and it'll list right there the version that I have. So this one here, I have the 5.2.0, which is this latest one on my computer. So you'll be able to tell whether it loaded okay or not. All right, any questions so far? Pretty straightforward. Okay, why is this one big? So actually, we'll go back to our presentation now. Excuse me for a minute. Why is this one big? The biggest one of all is once you download this version, you'll no longer need to use the dongle. Okay. For everyone that has a system, the dongle is a little red USB. It was a security key that was the previous management, upper management at Swiss Timing felt it important to have some sort of security there. It was always felt in the field that the security was actually the quantum controller itself, that the software itself really didn't offer much without having the quantum controller. So eventually management agreed with that. So you no longer need the dongle, but you must have this version obviously before you can eliminate it. Okay. So, I mean, the big thing there is that, you know, it frees up another USB on your laptop or your desktop, whatever you're using. And in the case of it ever going missing, you don't have to worry about that anymore. The other important part to this upgrade is the protocols for Sport in Box interface. So I'm going to talk about Sport in Box in a minute as a new program for Swiss Timing. And so it allows it to interface with the quantum controller and just minor other things. You can change the decimal in the edit times, which isn't important to us, but is in some of the other sports where they may need a different decimal, tenth or 1,000 in the case of car racing or something like that. Okay, so those are kind of the highlights to that. We need to check to make sure there's no one else that wants to get on. Okay. Okay, so a new piece of programming or equipment that Swiss Timing now has is called the Sport in the Box. And if you've been around myself or some of the staff like Kevin or that around the pool, you've already seen this in operation. But the original Sport in the Box, and basically what it is, it's an interface that allows you to play videos. It allows you to interface with timing systems and display that information onto the board with a bit of custom ability in colors and format and things like that. The Sport in the Box was originally designed by IC Control Media and Sport. Okay, and we've been working with them for several years. And just to give you an idea of some of the equipment they've done for us is all of our live streaming equipment. So what you would see on the video board where we're there live streaming, that is driven by the Sport in the Box software and hardware. Another example would be the video backup that's at TPASC. That system was designed by IC Control Media and Sport. A lot of people may think that that's an Omega system, but it actually isn't. IC Control and Media over the years have done a lot of equipment R&D for Swiss Timing in the case of the start time units, and then Swiss Timing buys those rights. Initially, when Sport in the Box came out, there wasn't an interest in Swiss Timing purchasing it, but there is now with more video boards being installed. And so they purchased it just recently. So it's now part of our Swiss Timing package. And I'll just take you through some of the highlights to it. So we're going to focus on the swimming software. Sorry. I just got to go out of here for a minute.
Can you see?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. I can't because I'm sharing the screen. Okay, so this is the tech sheet for the Sport in the Box. So basically what it is, it's an interface that goes between the quantum controller and the video board. If you have a numeric board, then this doesn't work in that scenario. You would just continue to get your feed from your quantum directly. This pertains directly to our customers that have video boards. And excuse me, what it does is it allows you, like I said, to do more graphics than traditionally. A lot of our facilities now, if you look at the screen, if we're not there doing the live streaming, then it kind of looks like a dot matrix screen. It's black and white, one font. We can't do a lot of changes to it, but this allows us to open that up a lot more. It can be run automatically. So whenever whoever's running quantum, whenever they make a function change, like they show a presentation of some kind or a start list, this system can either just follow along. So as we move through it as a controller, it'll show those displays on the board. Or you can also actually have an operator that can control this and send it to the board when directed to do so. So depending on the level of the meet, in most of the regional type competitions, it would just go directly to the scoreboard. I meant to mention at the beginning, we actually have one of these systems already, and it's up at the new Aurelia Recreation Center. That's our first installation, permanent installation of the Sport in the Box. Like I said, we've been using it for several years in our live streaming programs, but that's our first permanent installation. So we're looking forward to our first time trials up there in order to show this new system. It is quite nice. It has the ability to do 2 graphic packages, which I'll show you in a moment. It also does a timekeeping interface. So our customers out there that are currently using the MRI, they have an MRI video board and they're using the MRI interface. This would be an upgrade to that interface. So you would no longer need that particular interface and you would just use this one. Nothing wrong with the MRI one, but it is a few years old. And this one that hasn't been developed any further than when it was originally designed, where this one is being constantly developed. It will take data interface from RecTec, from Splash and the GRODAN, which I'll talk about in a minute. and then it can output to any size or position. What we use is there's a hotspot on our desktop, so there's no need for a scaler. So I can take this into any facility. I type in what the pixel pitches are of the board or the pixel numbers, and it'll size it accordingly. So that's a nice feature too. So now when we're designing racks, I no longer need to have an individual scaler. I now have the scaler in here, which makes the racks a little bit cheaper. It can either be purchased as software, it'll be a yearly license, or you can buy it in hardware as well, where you buy the computer, the rack mounted computer, and we would just place it right into the rack and do the connections to Quantum and to the video board. So graphics, what you get out of it, and the one I want to focus are on the Scoreboard ones, which are the first set here. So like I mentioned, right now we see a lot of more of a dot matrix look for our regional type competitions. So as you can see here, I can add in color. I can add in more information. For example, it'll show split times, which are down here. It'll actually show whether a swimmer's negative splitting. So it'll go green if they're negative splitting and red if they're not. You can put in like the flags. It'll actually show, it'll show if they have a best time, it'll be green. If it's yellow, it's not a best time. So it gives us a lot more information and much more visually appealing. We can put a number of records across here. There's 3 here. I'm not sure what the limit is, but minimum of 3 there. Then let's say if we're using just our Quantum through this interface, and I do, for example, my lane presentations. Right now, when we use it in dot matrix, it's pretty basic. So as you can see, you can customize and put a lot more into it. Same with the victory ceremonies. It'll add that in as well. The second set of graphics that it creates is the TV graphics. So this is the portion that we use more in our live streaming. So in this application here, you can hook up video and you can run the graphics as TV overlay. So as you can see, when we're doing it as a scoreboard, we fill the scoreboard with as much information as we can. When we're using it as a video overlay, we want to be able to see the video as well. So when we're not swimming, we show on like the start list or results here, we show it in full screen. But when we're swimming, we want to show the swimmers. So we decrease the amount of information we show and we place it at the bottom of the screen, still showing a lot of information, but being able to see the video. It also has the ability to do custom banners and walls like you can see here as well. So there's a Sport in the Box for swimming. There's also one available for water polo. So it has a lot of the same features. So it connects directly to the Calypso, which is the water polo controller. So it would go from Calypso, Sport in the Box to the video board. Okay. And again, it's customized with graphics and colors. You can either buy it as a software license, or you can buy the hardware computer with the license on it. And again, you end up with a graphic like similar to here. Again, just makes it look a lot nicer, a little bit more appealing to the eye. And again, I think it's offering up a really stable interface between your controller and your video board. So again, when we're doing scoreboard, it may look something like this, player presentation. So I can put in pictures of the athletes and then team lineups as well. And lastly, not as important for us, but to let you know, if you're in a rec center, it's also available in multi-sport. So we can go into gymnasiums, handball, basketball, football, volleyball, tennis, floorball, rugby, American football. These are all examples of, and it would do it through the Saturn controller, which is the Swiss timing controller that does those sports. So same idea. Again, shows lots of information, very, very, nice to look at. And it can also be done in video graphic overlay as well. You can see examples of it here. So this one not as critical unless you have a gym as well. So any questions on the Sport in the Box? So again, any questions, sir? No? Okay. If there are any you don't want to ask online, by all means, drop us an email and we'll be more than happy to. There was just a couple of questions here. Someone was asking whether the hardware comes with the permanent license. No, it's still a yearly license. You're just buying the hardware. We can provide all the specs for the computer. It really depends on the configuration. If you already have a rack, you can buy that rack mount version, which is down below here. And it has the license on it, but you still need the yearly license because it has all the updates in that yearly license as well. And it just fits nicely in a package. If you wanted to add the ability to show video, then we can add the SDI card in order to do the camera hookups and stuff like that. Okay, thanks for the question. If I go back to our presentation here. Next thing I wanted to mention, this is another program that comes from Sweden with IC Control Media and Sport, and it's called the GRODAN, sorry, and it's results management software. This is, they've developed this for over 20 years now. Like I mentioned, we already use equipment from them in our live streaming and the video backup at TPAS. But this particular management software has been around for 20 years, and they use it in mostly the Scandinavian countries. I think Sweden, Denmark, Finland. I'm not sure about Norway. But they use this software and have been using it for years. I'm going to go through some of the highlights of it. Where it fits in for us, I just thought I'd present it to you, but where it fits in for us is we're getting more into doing the results management of some of our customers, where we're actually seeding the competitions and that sort of thing. And this software has a lot of other benefits to it, but they've been trying to get us to promote this in Canada for years. I've always said to them, the biggest challenge that we're going to have with this software is if it involves clubs having to change from high tech to a different type of software in order to seed the events, then it's an uphill battle and one that we're not willing to take on. But they have been able to develop a software that allows teams to send their entries in their traditional high-tech or team unified formats, team viewer or team manager, and it gets converted into the files that we need in order to seed it into the event, into the software. So I'm just going to go through. So that's where we're looking at using it. And so, yeah. So I'll just show you a little bit about it. So it does all the meet management software requirements that we currently use. The next item, the Tempest Online Statistical Database. This isn't really for us, but in Sweden, they actually track and coordinate all the events that are going on, go from their GRODAN software through to this Tempest Online database. And so it collects all the results from all the events. It verifies the records and everything like that. So it's done a little more automated, but that's really not one of the highlights for us, but maybe for other organizations. It does have live timing, which is nice here. It's truly live timing, and we'll get into it a little bit in a moment. But it's not being posted a half hour later. It's actually watching it in real time. There's an app-based scratch and relay entry system, which we're really interested in. So what would happen, I won't go through the details each one, I'm going to do it in a minute. There's a speaker commentator system. There's the ability to go super live streaming, to show it in a live streaming capacity. And it also interfaces, because it's their programs, with the Sport in the Box as well. Oh, sorry. So when it comes to the meet management software, so it reads in the entries via an API or file. So it has the ability to do all the seeding, handles all the records, handles all the points, handles all the para swimming points, which is sometimes a challenge with high tech. It does all the results. It can export. We can print. If you look at it here over to the left, you can see the GRODAN there. I'll talk about the interfacing with the timing system. You can see how it spits out to the live timing, to the stats, if we need to print anything, if we need to get information over to our announcer, if we want to send information to our video board, or if we want to go super live streaming, it will interact with all of those. And has the ability to do several clients over a network at one time. I want to show you, I know this is not in English, but I wanted to show you, oh, sorry, it is. I did get the English one. This is kind of what one of the screens would look like when we're setting up the event. Has the ability to have a header and a footer for sponsors, all the typical things that we would normally see. But the big thing is it is truly live, which I'll mention here. So actually they are IC Control, Media and Sport in Sweden, are also the Swiss timing reps in Sweden, like I mentioned. So they work very closely as they're developing the software. So it interfaces with either the Quantum or the ARIs. And so this is actually what we would consider the second computer would be the Quantum computer. So you have the ability to put both on one computer, or you can have them on separate computers like they show here. But what happens is the information is automatically transferred from one to the other. So when I sit behind the GRODAN computer, I'm actually watching live what's happening on the Quantum computer. So that's something that we don't see right now in the high-tech system. It just allows for a quicker response of things. And you can do multiple timekeeping systems at one time. If you have multiple events happening at once, you can do that. It also has commentary information. So our term for that would be announcer. How many times we're running over results to the announcer quickly. I got to do high points, or I got to do whatever. This system has the ability to automatically give them a laptop or a desktop or a tablet, and it'll give them information. It's not history information on the swimmer, but how they did in the prelims, if it's a final, you know, how they're ranked in going into the final, what lane they're in, what club they're with. So that critical information, even at a regional level, when we're announcing, it just makes it a lot faster. So we really like that one. We mentioned before, this is a big one for us, is that there's online scratch and relay system. So it's an app on the phone, or it can be a web page on a computer. Chances are, this is driven by the coaches, so chances are it's going to be an app on the phone. So what would happen is the coaches would get a login for every competition, probably through email, but it could be through paper as well. And with that, they get to log in, and they can do scratches from that app. They can do relay names, relay changes from that app. And the WinGrogan software admin will actually lock out when we want, like if we announce that it's 30 minutes till scratch deadline, then it'll lock out after, you know, we type in 30 minutes and it locks out after 30 minutes. You know, here's a sample of what it would look like. I know it's not English, but this is what it may look like on the app. The great things that we like about this is that we've all been there when, you know, the coach has several swimmers on their shoulders and in the water, and they're trying to write up relay cards, and we can't make out the writing, or they said they put it in on time and it didn't get in on time. So it really puts the onus back on the coach to make sure the information is accurate. So once they put it in here, it automatically goes into the software. So we're not having to recopy it into the software. If they miss the deadline, then it sends an email alert back telling them that it can't be accepted, that he missed the deadline. So it eliminates a lot of the guesswork when it comes to some of these things. If they have a scratch, you can see the scratch. So the relay one is on the left-hand side, and on the right side is the scratch. You would enter in the swimmer's name, ID numbers, it brings them up, and they can decide to scratch them or not. So like I mentioned, it's true live timing. So what happens is it goes from Quantum, goes over to the GRODAN software, and then up to live timing. All that happens instantaneously. And if I just quickly move to the next one, I'm not sure. It just pops down sometimes. So here's an example of what the screen may look like. And so if I'm sitting watching, I can actually see things happening live. So I'll see the relay detection, see the swimmers, their club names, their, the time, the ranking, all the split times. That all happens as it's showing on the Quantum.
Go to more. I think you have questions.
Yeah. Sorry?
More.
Oh,
right.
Okay. Looks like we have a few questions here.
Yeah.
Someone's asking a question about rules for relays. We like people aging up and things like that. We are in the process of talking to them about all of the uniqueness items that are in Canada that we would need to see it in the software. And so far, everything that we've talked about with them, they can do. The great thing about it is they're programmers. So they've actually written the software there. So we tell them what we needed to do, and then they'll write the software in order for that to happen.
There's a question about it.
Okay. Yes, someone was asking, how do they communicate? Yes, it's over network. Someone was asking. Yes, it would be over a network that they would communicate. That's between Quantum and the GRODAN or the Sport in the Box. Okay,
the real beauty of this thing is that it is the live, and it's not a requirement of the high-tech recorder scorer to be pulling the times from Quantum. They're fed in automatically. So if you're in a 50, you can get like 10 heats behind, but this is actually really live. So it keeps up. We don't have to pull the times from,
yeah.
When we talked to the programmers in Sweden, they didn't even know what we're talking about, pulling times.
Yes, because it's automatically done for them.
And to look at it the opposite way, like during a 1500, you aren't having to wait till the race is done. You can actually see the splits as the swim is going on.
Yes, correct. And another nice thing is this live timing is free. There's no cost to anyone that wants to go on it, can go on it and view it. Download the app and away you go. Then in addition to this, if you want, you can pay a small fee, a yearly fee, and then it's more interactive. And what you can do is it'll start following swimmers. So you can type in swimmer IDs and it'll tell you, it'll alert you 5 minutes before they're going to race. Because it is true live time, in 5 minutes or thereabouts, they're going to be swimming. Excuse me, it'll direct you to the live stream. You can watch it live if we're live streaming. And if not, if you can't watch it, it'll give you alert after the race is over to what the time was. So we find it to be a lot more personal. But the good thing about it is that if you just want to watch the races as they're happening, it's free. And only if you want to customize it do you need to pay for it. Another question came in is cost compared to high tech. I can't fully answer that yet. We're still working that out. It needs to be, we've already talked to them about it needing to be comparable. So yeah, we're not quite there yet, but initially, we're looking to try it internally, see how it works. And then if there is interest, obviously, we'd be happy to talk to people about that. Go back up here. Yeah, real time, like I said. So what happens is here, for example, if we're running the race on Quantum, all of this information is showing up on, obviously on the scoreboards and on this live timing. And what happens is where you see up here and it says A final, that'll say unofficial. Okay, and then what happens is when the race is made official through either RecTec or through the WinGrogan, if you want to do it separately on a different computer. Once the race is made official, then it'll say up here that's official. Okay, so even though all this information is being shown here, people will be able to read that it's not official yet until we make it so. Okay, just skip back up here. Yeah. And so here's an example of how it may interface with the Sport in the Box. So it would go from Quantum to the admin GRODAN laptop, then to the Sport in the Box, and then out from the Sport in the Box to the video boards. And you can see you can add in cameras if you like as well. Okay, we got another question.
Yes, it does replace Meet Mobile.
Yes, someone was asking whether it replaces the Meet Mobile. Yes, it would. Like I said, it's a free version, or you can go with the more interactive version, but yes, it would.
We were going to try this in April, but then swim meets sort of stopped.
Yes, I should say yes, that our original goal was to try this at a swim meet in April. Running RecTec and running this in the background and then slowly introducing it that way. But obviously with everything that's happened. So I will say that we are looking. So if there are any clubs out there that would be interested in us coming in and doing some testing during one of your time trials or something like that, or one of your swimming opportunities, then drop us an email and let us know. And maybe we'll work together and we can show you how this works and we can learn together. We've, Steve and Charlotte in particular, have had the software, played around with it a little bit to see what it would do. But our next step now is to try it in a very relaxed environment, but to try it in more of a live scenario in one of our competitions to see if there are any pitfalls or where our challenges are with it. But from what we see initially, it looks quite impressive in what it does. So I just thought I would end this particular part with showing the Sport in the Box. As you can see here, some of the things that it does with the split times and negative splitting or positive splitting and the lane presentations. And the next one here, I'll actually show you a video. So while I'm showing this video, if you look at the scoreboard, you can see how that works. And you can see how personal best times are green and ambers are not. And yeah, so all the information that you see on the board here, you know, through the Sport in the Box, you'd be able to show on your video board for facilities that have it. I should also mention it is in Aurelia as our first location. It's also in the proposed new Guelph South End Recreation Center. So the Sport in the Box is proposed in that facility as well. So yeah. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'll have to let that go through. Sorry, you gotta look at it again. And yeah, she still came last. So here would be a configuration in its simplest terms. So we got Quantum still feeding the board, and then Quantum feeding the GRODAN software, and then to the speaker if you have one of those, or printing or whatever. Obviously the stats thing is not possible here.
Well, Tempest is kind of like Swim Canada's database, but it's automatic. This one is kind of live and not done uploads like 2 or 3 days later, and it's checked against the databases, so for records and things like that.
Yeah, and That's another reason why on the board you could see the colors, whether that was a personal best or not, is because when GRODAN in the Scandinavian countries has direct access to like the Swimming Canada database of what is that swimmer's real best times up till now, right?
Yeah, it's right. It's all interactive.
Yep. Great. Okay, here is in a bit of a more complex. So we've added in a video board with the announcer. Here we've added in the sport in the box to the video board, feeding the media to the video board. And then this would be in a championship type thing where we've brought all components together. So we got live timing, we've got super live, which is the live streaming, all the graphics and everything included. Great. So I'm going to keep it rolling here, and Leslie's going to talk a little bit about what we've done when it comes to COVID, our new policies and procedures. So I'll turn it over to Leslie.
Hi, everyone. I've been hiding in the background there. So although since March, we have not been live on any pool deck or doing any swim events, we have been out there in the live world, as it would be, doing other things. So we have been out on some construction projects. We've been out doing first aid training for the past few months to frontline staff that are needing to have their training to be working in our hospitals and long-term care homes and things. And while we've been doing all of those, we've been paying a lot of attention to the on-site policy and procedures that are happening in the different venues. And I should preface it by saying that we are very closely adhering to any national, provincial health regulations or guidelines, then municipal ones, swim body ones, and facility ones in what we're doing. So we're not sort of going rogue and just doing our own thing, but we're making sure that we are doing our best to protect our team. So we just want to take a minute to bring you up to date on where we're at in terms of what you might expect from the RecTec timing team or the RecTec results team if they come onto your facility. So prior to even going to work, we are going to be working closely with both our team and any facility that we're going into to make sure that our team is up to speed on our internal policies and procedures, and also that they're aware of what the policies and procedures are within the facility, because they do differ from facility to facility and region to region, especially as we're going forward and regions are falling under different colors, lockdown, orange, gray, different things. We want to make sure that we're following that. So that's the first thing we're expecting our team will be doing. We'll be meeting with them, going through all their policies and procedures. And then prior to even going to shift, if it's a morning, before going to shift, they'll be expected to complete their own self-COVID assessment to self-screen themselves. If they're fine to go to work that day, then they'll move forward to make their way to the facility. If they're not, they'll be in touch with myself and somebody else would take their place. Upon arriving at the facility, we're now asking that our team members would arrive at least 30 minutes prior to any event warm-up, if there is a warm-up, or any event staff, swimmers, anyone arriving. They will be required to wear the proper PPE on site and to follow the facility guidelines once they're on site. Arriving on the pool deck, it will be really important that our staff are using their PPE, so their gloves, their masks, that they're unpacking the equipment, which we will have packaged up each day after they leave an event, and that they make sure that the area is properly protected. So it will depend on the facility and whether we're working with meet managers. So we would have to have either social distancing between our timing area and their timing area. If we are providing results management, then we will be social distancing between ourselves. In some facilities, there may be barriers between, but what is going to be really important is that we are not sharing resources. So that means things like the old days, or somebody might come over and grab a pen or be bringing paper over. We will be ensuring that that is limited during the event. We will need to work out with the facilities during the event, how we're going to manage things like equipment malfunctions. So it's straightforward. In some situations, have normally gone out and maybe a lifeguard has helped their staff member pull a touchpad out. So we need to determine how that's going to look, how we're managing that at the facilities. At the end of the shift, we're going to make sure that all of our equipment is disinfected, that is put properly away, and that any issues with equipment or concerns are passed along. And we are still working through some things, and we will look for some suggestions from people that have had their events when it comes around particular equipment. A couple of our concern areas are one, microphones, not so much for the starters, because we're assuming that they are going to have their own, that only they are using. But sometimes there's a microphone, an announcer comes over to use it, and then a meet manager comes over to use it. Well, we can't have that happening anymore. So we need to work through that. And then there's also the issue of buttons. So I know some people have had in the regions where they could have a swimming opportunity, they've maybe been using some of the equipment. But one of the things that we're going to be suggesting is that buttons are tagged or marked with tape, and they're one timer has that button, and then it's not shared by anybody else. At the end of that event or that session, those buttons go be disinfected, and then a new set comes out. So what we don't want is multiple people having multiple touch points during the event. So aside from that, we are working our way through trying to keep an eye on what's going on, trying to be in touch with a number of different facilities to see what they're planning. But we thought we just wanted to sort of assure the swimming community that, you know, we are following precautions, and we are working through things and trying to make sure that everybody is on the same page, and that everything is, in terms of cross-contamination, is limited as much as possible. So that's where we're at. Any questions about that?
If I could just make yeah, okay. One the two key areas that we identified is the push buttons, right? So marking those, disinfecting them in between sessions, and so on. And the other one's the microphone. Okay, so what we're recommending is that if you had a minimum of 2 microphones, then one could be given to the starter when they come in, and then you have one that you could use for testing purposes. What we don't want to have happen is, you know, somebody is having a problem with the starter, and then our operator goes over and does what they would normally test, that they're going to have to bring over their own microphone and do the testing and adjustments that way. So at our larger facilities, what we're going to be recommending that, yeah, like I said, when the starter comes in, we give them their starter, their microphone. We can show them where they can plug it in. Maybe it's in a bag or something. We show them where it plugs in, and then that's theirs to use for the session. After the session's over, we remove it, we disinfecting it, and we start the process all over again. I guess there were some questions, so let me just see what we got here. Oh, just some, okay, sorry, just some discussion back and forth. Great. All right. So what I'd like to talk about briefly here is, you know, we have a few new services that we're going to be offering. So just let you know that that's available. Obviously, in some parts of our region, we're competing, and we have been competing for a while. And, you know, the region, I should have said at the beginning, involves Nova Scotia, Ontario, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan. Okay, so we have a real broad grouping and where we're sitting when it comes to competition right now. So in the Ontario region, we know parts are in lockdown and aren't even training, and other areas can do some minimal time trial type things. But once things start to progress a bit more, we're still going to have our traditional services, our on-site timing, and our live streaming services. And right now, live streaming is on hold. But once that is back up and approved again, we'll be offering those services. One of our new ones, and I'll turn it over to either Charlotte and Steve to talk about one of our new services, which was really starting to take off for us last year, and that's our result management services. So
yeah, so just briefly what results management services was, we started it last year under RecTec, but it's really Steve Goodwin and myself, Charlotte Carroll, offering clubs or anyone who's hosting a swim meet assistance. And it can be from helping create the swim meet structure, a meet package, to creating that database, supporting the entry validation, to seeding the meet, and then the days of the meet, just ensuring that those results that are coming into the system are in there and properly handled. And then when the meet's over, creating the export for the final results. So we wish we could still be doing that right now.
yeah. Yes, we had, I think we had done how many, like 12 or something last year, March or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it was starting to take off. So that's something that we'll look to develop once we get back to some normality in how we're swimming. Another new one that we are introducing with our limited swimming is the concept of dual or virtual swim meets. We've actually at the high level have presented the concept of virtual swim meets to Swim Canada, and they're looking and mulling that over in their programs, so what they're planning for swimming in the future. But there's no reason we can't even take this down to a regional level. And if, you know, a club is doing a time trial on Saturday morning and they want to duel up with another club that's doing a time trial on Saturday morning in their pool, obviously that their own pools and following all the necessary guidelines, that we could assist in making it a little bit more competitive in that, you know, sharing those results and taking the two databases, merging them together and showing if they swam together in one location, this is the times that you would have got. So in any of these services, if anybody's interested in them, just drop us an email. We'll be glad to talk to you individually about what we can do for your club and your swimming opportunities. The last one is offering offsite timing and high-tech support. So this allows us to now hit our entire region and not just kind of locally like we do a lot of our on-site stuff. And especially seeing that probably for a lot of us, our timing systems have been sitting for quite a while, probably the longest they've ever gone without it being used. And, you know, there may be some startup hiccups that you encounter. So you can sign up for our off-site timing or high-tech support. You can do one or the other, or you can do a combination of both. And what will happen is we'll get you to load a remote software onto those computers, like TeamViewer is the one people are most familiar with. And then as your meet is happening, if you have any issues, you can either call us, and if we can't talk it over the phone, the issue, we can actually go onto your computer, have a look at what's happening and offer suggestions on how to rectify that. So if that's a new service for us, and if you're interested, again, just get in touch with us and we'll give you more information on that. Next area is this here. We thought with the opportunity to bring everybody together in this form, and like everybody's at different levels, and not only in competition, but in preparing for those competitions. So we thought we'd take the opportunity to just open up any discussions on if people have already done competitions, what are some of the challenges that they may have encountered in setting that up, or facility things that have been coming up, or concerns, or positive things that have worked really well. So I'll turn it over to Charlotte or Steve on this, kind of coordinate, but if anybody has any feedback, yeah, we'd like to hear from you. Here's an opportunity. Anybody out there? Or?
I'd like to hear from the people from Nova Scotia. Aren't you guys doing competitions now? And how's it proceeding? And, you know, what are the one or two good things that are happening or one or two bad things that, you know, we can maybe talk over or, you know, just
any lessons learned, because
lessons
we
learned.
don't all to go through that failure mode to learn the same lesson. So if you have any lessons learned, we'd all love to learn them.
Going once?
Yeah.
Going twice?
Where are they?
How about any other of the provinces or anyone outside of the GTA who maybe are doing some time trials? Any challenges anybody's encountered, or any issues or positive things that anyone may want to share? Maybe too soon. I just thought I would throw that in and see if there was any dialogue on that. And again, if you ever have any questions or anything and we can help out in any way, we're here to try to help out with that. Okay. Yep. Les was just mentioning maybe the swim bodies, if they have anything they would like to add at this stage on the plans, or anything that they've seen that's unique and thought, okay, this could really work well. I'll open that up to anybody. Once, twice, okay. All right, overall is if there's any questions anyone has, now we can take those questions. Like I said, if you don't want to ask here in this form, by all means, everyone has our email address. We would love to talk to you. Oh,
in the chat.
Oh, just everyone, thank you. That's just a thank you. All right, then. I thank everybody for attending, and hope everybody has a great holiday and we can get back to swimming and obviously be safe, and we can get back to some competitions shortly, sometime in the new year for sure. So again, we are recording this. We're going to throw it up on our RecTec TV. If you go to YouTube, you can go to our channel at RecTec TV, and you can pick up the information there. Great to see everybody. Looking forward to seeing everybody someday back out on the pool deck. Bye for now, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, team. Thanks, Steve. Charlotte.
Bye-bye.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Same to you.
Yeah.